Potato chips. Crisp, golden brown, delicious. A food enjoyed by all Americans. Yes, everybody seems to like potato chips. Even youngsters like Junior here.
Junior, not so many of those. You'll ruin your appetite. Oh, gee. You heard what I said.
Now, Mrs. Whipple. Why not let Junior have his potato chips? They won't hurt him, you know.
But who are you?
Just call me Mr. Chips.
And you say it's all right for him to eat that much of them?
Why, sure. Potato chips are a real food. Do you know the story behind them?
No.
What about you, Junior? Well, then, relax and I'll tell you the story. You see, it was a long time ago, way back in 1853. At Lake Saratoga in the Adirondacks, there was an inn known as Moon's Place. And here the cook was a pretty little Indian girl called Kate. One day she was peeling potatoes, getting ready for the evening meal. Hanging in the fireplace was a kettle of hot fat that Kate had made ready for crullers. She accidentally let one of the slices of potato fall into that kettle. At that very moment, George Crumb, who was the owner of the inn, happened along. Kate explained what had happened. The result looked good to him, and he decided to try it. He definitely approved. So, beginning with that incident, almost 100 years ago, potato chips got their start. Old-fashioned fireplaces soon gave way to pots on wood-burning stoves. Kate's accidental discovery started something. Potato chips were fast becoming a popular food. Today, over 20 million bushels of selected potatoes are necessary to supply the demand. Today, $200 million worth of potato chips are produced each year, making nearly £250 million for your enjoyment. So you see, there are lots of people besides Junior who like potato chips.
But how in the world can they make that many chips?
Well, that's also an interesting story, Mrs. Whipple. Modern potato chip manufacture has advanced a long way from the days of the kettle and the iron pot on a wood-burning stove. But one thing has remained exactly the same. Even the modern method for making potato chips begins on the farm. Choice U.S. #1 potatoes are brought direct to the manufacturer. These specially grown potatoes provide a ready market for the farmer and also provide him with an incentive for producing potatoes with better cooking qualities. The flow to the plant is steady and constant. But how about a trip inside a modern potato chip plant to see how they are made? After arrival, the bags are opened, inspected, and the selected potatoes are placed in crates. A constant flow of water washes the potatoes as they work their way down into the bottom of the hopper. From the bottom of the washing tank, they are picked up mechanically and started on their way. The potatoes are dropped into a chute and then released into an ingenious device for peeling. The potatoes are whirled in the peeler and the skins are scraped off by an abrasive action. This mechanical peeling retains the essential minerals that lie just under the skin. After peeling, they're on their way again. And once more, another inspection. The potatoes flow past the watchful eyes of the inspectors before continuing their well-charted course along this modern production line. Once more, circulating water is used for washing. And again, another free ride. This time to the floor above. where the potatoes are dropped into a slicing machine. The whirling knives swiftly cut them into uniform slices. This uniformity is typical of the care used throughout modern potato chip manufacture. Next, washing and soaking to take out excess starch. As the drums rotate, the slices are tossed about and give up the greater percent of their original high starch content. Now from the round and back to the straight line direction. More showers of clean water and the potato chips are again flowing toward completion. The next step in the process is cooking. And this modern stainless steel automatic cooker is a definite improvement over the old-fashioned iron kettle. Here, selected vegetable oils are held to specific temperatures, and the cooking time is accurately controlled so that each potato chip is just right. They come out at the far end of the cooker, having had the necessary time and temperature for cooking to a delicious golden brown. A conveyor belt picks up the thoroughly cooked potato chips and sends them on their way once more. And now, another inspection, one of the many required to maintain strict, high-quality control. Conveyor belts play an important part in potato chip manufacture, and this time, besides transportation, they also serve to allow time for cooling before packaging. A constant stream of potato chips is fed to these sensitive weighing machines. As the potato chips drop down, they are accurately weighed and tripped automatically into a weighting bag. The bag is placed aside, folded over, and stapled. Each step from the selection of the raw potatoes through washing, peeling, slicing, cooking, and finished packaging is carefully and accurately controlled under modern scientific sanitary conditions. Packaged fresh and crisp, the potato chips are ready for delivery to Mr. and Mrs. America, old and young alike. Even as your own little junior there, Mrs. Whipple.
I'll admit he does enjoy them, but maybe a little too much.
Well, don't worry, Mrs. Whipple. Good food never hurt any normal youngster. And as you know, potato chips are good food. For example, the average potato chip gives 98% solid food value. In fact, the eminent food authority, Mr. H.C. Sherman, states that potato chips have a higher energy value than any of over 250 vegetables or vegetable products that we ordinarily eat. And that is important, because potato chips help to provide the necessary energy for the man who uses his muscles. For the man who burns up energy under the stress and strain of business. With a special mention for Mrs. Homemaker, whose entire day is filled with energy-taking tasks. For youngsters who require plenty of good energy-building food for their crowded, very busy days. And even the oldsters manage to toss off their share of energy. You made it, Grandpappy. So you see, Mrs. Whipple, all of us use energy and need foods to supply it. Just as Junior is getting his energy right out of those potato chips.
You're sure they're a good way for him to get energy?
A good way? I'm sure of it. A bulletin by the United States Department of Agriculture on the chemical composition of American food materials states that of over 1,100 foods, only 42 of those foods surpass potato chips in energy value. Those 42 foods are mainly fats. Fat meats like bacon, marrow, or nuts, coconut, and chocolate. No one of which alone plays a sizable part in the average diet. The potato chip, on the other hand, offers a variety of nutritional values all by itself. Values which are essential to our daily diets. Quoting again from the bulletin, we learn that the average potato chip is 2.2% moisture, 6.8% protein, 39.8% fat, 46.7% carbohydrate, and 4.5% ash. Let's investigate that protein. Nutritional authorities agree that potato protein is of excellent quality, giving the necessary requirement for light or strenuous exercise. The protein necessary to keep our bodies in sound, healthy condition. Reliable studies show that fat is the balance wheel of our digestive systems. Tests show that the digestibility of the vegetable fats in potato chips is equal to that of butter. Unless we get enough fat in our diets, we are likely to digest our food too rapidly, get tired or drowsy before the next meal. Did this ever happen to you? The carbohydrates in potato chips are also important, especially to take care of exasperating moments like this, or like running for a bus and missing it by the skin of your teeth. These are everyday trials and tribulations. Potato chips do supply us with many of the elements necessary to meet trying situations, to give us the ability to come back for more. The potato chip has nutritional qualities that are valuable. Unlike more perishable foods, they need no refrigeration or special storage to protect their goodness. They are scientifically packaged to guarantee protection. They always come to you fresh and crisp. Hospitals use potato chips as a food for convalescents. They are beneficial because they require thorough chewing before swallowing. Just as your own Junior there is thoroughly chewing his. But Junior isn't the only youngster who likes his potato chips. They are served in school cafeterias as a popular and wholesome item for the diet of growing, active bodies. And industrial workers prefer them as a source of salt for their systems, to avoid fatigue and overheating. In the home, potato chips are always ready to serve and always appetizing. They're one of the few ready-to-eat cooked vegetables. And they're easy and safe to store over a period of time.
Well, those were stored in his stomach.
And a mighty good place for them, Mrs. Whipple. They'll give him all the pep he needs to hold him over till dinner time. So see you later, Junior.
Excuse me. Hello?
Hiya, sweetheart. You know what? I invited the boss home to dinner tonight.
You did what?
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? See you about 6 o'clock.
He can't do that to me. And hardly a bite in the house. I'll call him right back.
Just a moment, Mrs. Whipple. Maybe this is that important occasion.
Well, Arthur has been trying to arrange it for a long time.
Then let's talk things over. Maybe you've still got a chance of getting together a dinner. That was a cake you were baking, wasn't it?
Well, only a loaf cake.
Good enough, good enough. And of course you have something in the refrigerator.
Well, only this ham, and it's left over.
Mm-hmm. But with definite possibilities. Now, how about vegetables?
Only these.
Green beans? Wonderful. And there's the makings for a wonderful tossed salad. You're going to have a meal fit for a king. Just listen to me and everything will work out perfectly.
It had better. It had better.
And while Mrs. Whipple's food is in the hands of Mr. Chips, let's consider some table settings. A birthday table. Buns with hot dogs and fresh green onions, potato chips in ample supply, tall glasses of creamy milk. And in the place of honor, a birthday cake with lighted candles. What more could a young host want to set before his crowd? This table says, do come for lunch in May. Pastel-colored linens, sparkling glass, lilacs and tulips look like spring. So do the luncheon plates featuring stalks of fresh green asparagus. Why, even the mints are shaped like spring flowers. This Christmas buffet table is gay and good to look upon. The deep green cloth with its snowy white embroidered trees is an excellent foil for the Christmas plates, the fresh pine centerpiece, and the shimmering silvery angels. A large plate with its red and green mosaic of relishes and canopies is close beside the sparkling tomato juice. The turkey, roasted to a golden brown, completes this sumptuous holiday feast. Here is a study in red and white. The red repeats itself in the centerpiece, in the sparkling drink, and in the rings of large, fresh, unhulled strawberries. Snowy powdered sugar centers each ring. The casserole, which has been brought piping hot to the table, offers a preview of good things to come. Hi-ho for a summer picnic. Gay bandanas and colorful calico print squares are tied hobo style into pokes or pouches. Inside are buns, pickles, and individual pots of baked beans. The whole table sings with color. Mom always sets a buffet table for the midnight supper when Pop entertains his cronies. She has used painted tin roosters for background. A large platter holds the baked ham, which the men slice for sandwiches. Tiny pickled onions and strips of pimento look like pearls and rubies on the dill pickles. Mom baked an apple pie, which she rimmed with crunchy, crackling potato chips. Now, back to Mrs. Whipple and her able assistant, Mr. Chips.
Thank you. 6 o'clock, and your meal is going to be all right, too.
It had better. It had better.
Come right in, Mr. Dobbs. Let me take your hat, please. Right in, sit down. Oh, honey, this is Mr. Dobbs. Mr. Dobbs, my wife.
How do you do, Mr. Dobbs?
How do you do? It's a pleasure.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, Mr. Dobbs, this is Junior.
Hello.
Hello, Junior.
Some peanuts, miss?
Well, Just Junior's little joke, Mr. Dobbs.
Well, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Dobbs, I have some things in the kitchen.
I'll fix it. Mr. Dobbs, there are several...
Well, Mrs. Whipple, things in your living room are a mess.
Why did I ever listen to him? Or you?
Don't worry, Mrs. Whipple. Your dinner will fix everything.
It had better. It had better.
Right this way, Mr. Dobbs.
Please be seated.
Well, get a load of this food. Hey, this looks good. What is it?
Casserole of ham and green beans, mushroom soup and milk.
And potato chips.
Potato chips? Oh, boy.
Does look good. Something new in the food line, I take it, Mrs. Whipple.
A man just told her about it.
A man? And who was this?
A very intelligent man, I'd say. Very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Chips.